That storm system is moving really slow, which means more flooding as it moves along the East Coast. Here's 19 First Alert meteorologist Andy Chilian.
I'm meteorologist Andy Chilian. Debby made landfall earlier this morning as a Category 1 hurricane along the Big Bend of Florida, but its impacts are nowhere near over. In fact, we're going to be dealing with this storm for several days as it only crawls along the southeast coast. And because of that, the rainfall from this storm as we head over the next week is going to be quite immense in spots. You can see the high totals here. Now, highlighted are specific cities where you can see, and this is through Saturday morning, will be exceeding 10 inches. You can see Wilmington, North Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia. But those are just some highlighted cities where you just take a single point in time. There could be other areas that are not necessarily shown that could be receiving locally up to 20 or even exceeding 20 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain in a short period of time in some cases, and even during the next week, that is a whole lot of rain. So in fact, we could be nearing some state rainfall records from tropical systems. This is where they are. So the tropical systems or the remnants, this is what they have brought in the past. So in Georgia, the record is 27.85 inches. That was from Alberto back in 1994. Both South and North Carolina, those records were back from Hurricane Florence back in 2018. South Carolina, the record is 23.63 inches, and North Carolina, an astounding 35.93 inches of rain. So we'll see if any records are set, but nonetheless, this storm is going to be remembered more for the rainfall as it just crawls along and dumps a lot of rain over portions of the southeast coast.